Hi everyone, so I'm here to tell you why I essentially turned down a billionaire philanthropist's invitation to prioritise my chronic illness and health. So first of all, I should probably say I'm filming this in a hotel room in Africa, so the lighting is awful. I'm on a squeaky chair, which you're going to hear occasionally, I'm sure, but hopefully you'll bear with me as I record this in the moment while it's live, while it's happening, because I always think when I do those with the videos, it just comes across better than me having a script or something and filming it weeks after the event and pretending like it's just happened. So yeah, essentially I am in Kigali in Rwanda. I'm here for the NCD Alliance's Global Forum. It's been an amazing week. I've met so many wonderful people. The conversations have been incredible. But like always with these conferences, I've been on my feet a lot of hours. I've done a lot of walking. I've had a lot of early starts and late nights. And when managing your chronic illness, that's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And I'm getting better with these things. So I now learn to arrive a day early so I can recover from the flight and reset before I then do the advocacy work. And I'm learning to take little breaks. So for example, today it got to 4 o'clock and all the signs were there that my body was starting to struggle. The pain levels were rising. I'd already taken some painkillers, which I don't normally use daily. So I sort of try to pay attention to when I'm having to use those because it's telling me that I'm maybe not coping very well. And so I came back to my room and I had a couple of hours before I was due to be at an evening reception, which I really looked forward to. I was blown away when I got the invitation to attend this reception that was being held by a very well-known American billionaire philanthropist. It would have been a great networking opportunity. I'm sure it would have been a fab evening. I'm sure the food and everything would have been amazing. But ultimately, well, there's two things at play here. Ultimately, one, I realised I was already in the red and I would like to see the final day of the conference tomorrow. And secondly, when I say it is a reception, it is just that. It's a reception. For me, I don't come all the way around the world to places like Africa to advocate for the networking. That's a bonus. You know, you'll see me sharing it on my social media of all the wonderful people I've met, and obviously those relationships help us do great work. But ultimately I'm here to do the work, and if I have to pick one, I'm always going to pick advocacy. That's what I'm here for. I feel a lot of responsibility and a lot of weight on my shoulders that I'm here carrying the messages from the community, the pain points, the priorities, the what matters to them, and making sure I'm feeding that into leaders, decision makers, policy makers, etc. And ultimately, not many people are going to want to talk shop whilst drinking sparkling wine and having nibbles. You know, people are unwinding. It's a Friday night. It's been a long week. So for me, if I have to pick one, I'm going to pick advocacy every time. You know, and frankly, I don't get FOMO with these things. This is probably the fifth or sixth evening event that I've said no to over the years in order to make sure I can show up the next day when the serious stuff has taken place, when the talks are being given, the presentations are being given, the tough questions are being asked, and I need to be fresh for that. So I will have maybe FOMO for 12 hours. You know, I'm sitting here now wondering what ifs and who I could have spoke to, or maybe what I would have been exposed to, or what opportunities I might have had to meet certain people, or whatever that might be. But it'll literally last for 12 hours because come tomorrow, it's down to the serious stuff. It's down to the work again. It's down to improving patient outcomes, you know, trying to address issues like massive funding gaps and challenges we've got at the moment in 2025 with health funding and all this sort of thing. So for me, my advocacy does the talking. I don't need to be doing that at networking events. So it's not saying I'm not grateful. I certainly am. It's not saying I'm not gutted that I miss it. Obviously, I'm in an ideal world. I would go to all of these things. But I'm here as somebody with lived experience, chronic illness, somebody who faces a 14-hour journey tomorrow at the end of an 8 to 10 hour day at a conference. So just put that into perspective. Imagine being completely well, able-bodied, fully fit and healthy and doing 8 to 10 hours walking around conference centre and then doing a 14-hour journey home with multiple flight changes and layovers and things like that. That's going to wipe out most regular healthy people. I can't afford to go into that 14-hour journey in the red. I just can't. It'll be a hell for me. If I'm uncomfortable, imagine being uncomfortable for 14 hours, like constant. I'm not doing that. And I need to arrive at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning back in my hometown where my son will be watching me land, who has missed me all week. I can't keep arriving home grumpy and tired, in pain, or crying sometimes. Last time I came home and landed, I cried, and it wasn't because I was happy to see him, it was because it was such a horrendous trip for me, and that's not fair. You know, if it wasn't for my family supporting me, I wouldn't even be here doing all these things. So for me, the priority has to be the advocacy, and that is why I turned down Billionaire's reception. Like, what an opportunity that would have been. What a thing to tell people. But ultimately for me, the advocating, the raising awareness, the change, reducing stigma, improving outcomes, all that stuff comes first for me. And frankly, if I'd have gone tonight, I'd have been stuck in bed tomorrow, and that's no good for anyone. But more so my mental health, because I would have been thinking all day, how am I going to get home? How am I going to get home? How am I going to fly from Kigali to Uganda, from Uganda to Amsterdam, from Amsterdam to Norwich? The mental torture of that, let alone the physical, would have been horrendous. So I'm proud of myself, because a few years ago on these circuits, I would not have done that. But I'm proud of myself, and I think I've made the right decision. And hopefully, ultimately, what it leads to is that I do better work for you guys, because ultimately I'm representing you. I realise not everyone's got a voice. I take that very seriously. And if it's a toss-up between having some nibbles and a giggle at reception evening with some, you know, well-known people or famous people or whatever you want to, whatever's laid on, or getting up at 9 o'clock and turning up to the talk I need to see because I need to learn about X, Y, and Z, and then feedback also what matters to us, there's only one winner. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully it doesn't come across like I'm being a dick, but just being honest. Yeah, the next video you get from me, hopefully, all being well, touch wood, I'll be safe and sound back in the UK. Thanks for the support this week, guys. Sorry there wasn't a podcast. Connectivity is obviously a challenge, and if I can't do something to the best quality I think I can, then I'd rather not do it. So with these, I'm recording them. I can't do the live streams, I can't do the podcasts, but I'm recording them and then watching them painfully upload. So then at least when you get it, it's a decent product to watch, a decent way to consume the information. But when I'm back, we'll get the Chronic Pain Club and the podcast back on the road. And yeah, I will see you soon. Stay well, keep prioritising your health, keep trying despite how hard it is to make the right choices with pacing and everything else. And I'll speak soon. Bye-bye.